Hey everybody, welcome back to our podcast section here for CIS170, Programming, Logic, and Design. It's me again, Eric Wolf, the instructor for the course. Really, I do mean this in any and all of your potential phone calls or office visits or in class or emails or messages, whatever the case may be. Eric is just fine. I do not need, any of the titles associated typically with being an instructor. It just doesn't make any sense to me. This particular podcast is going to serve kind of as an introduction to the course, a welcome to the course, and kind of a rationale for why it is that you would have interest, or really at its very core, why you would need something like programming, logic, and design. So before we get into everything else, how about just a little bit about the course, the way it is I approach the content for the course, and the way it is that hopefully you'll be able to apply what it is we do to your particular discipline, whatever discipline that happens to be. So in this course, whether or not you are a nursing student, a Cisco student, a web developer, a Android or iOS developer, it's really immaterial. At its very core, you can interchange programming, logic, and design with process, logic, and design. And I think when you are able to do that, when you are willing to do that, you're really going to squeeze a lot more utility out of what it is that we are doing here for this course. So first and foremost, please understand that not everybody taking this course, as I've already mentioned, not everybody taking this course is a developer. There's a certain percentage out there of you, roughly half I would estimate, that say, hey, look, I've already got a little bit of background in programming, whether or not that is, something like Python or PHP, or if you've done SQL before, or if you're coming from the web, it really doesn't matter. Take your pick of languages. It doesn't matter. At the very core of this, the material is valuable for you to be able to essentially take what it is and whatever it is that you do as your specialty. So if that means that you are an engineer, if that means that you are a developer, if that means that you are a nurse, that is your specialty. What programming, logic, and design helps to try to do is to develop a language around taking your particular expertise and communicating it in a very specific, very repeatable way to somebody who doesn't have your expertise. So you can take programs, you can take processes, you can distill a little bit or a lifetime of knowledge into a document, something that somebody else with a different set of expertise can follow, but still do exactly what it is that you needed them to do in exactly the logical order it is that you needed them to do it in. So if by the time we're done, you can look at a problem and understand that it involves a system of interlocking steps and dependencies, if when we're done you can identify that those steps need to be clear, and so clear that you can communicate those steps to people who do not share your particular expertise. And if you can create a clear, logical, repeatable solution for those issues, then by the time we're done, voila, you have logical, programming, process-wise, and systems design expertise. And that is a skill set that travels. Irrespective of your career field, so whether or not, again, you're in nursing, if you're in any of the development areas, if you are in Cisco, etc., the average person has anywhere between 10 and 15 jobs in a lifetime. So a job is not your entire career. It's just something you do for right now. So as much as I will claim that teaching is a career for me, which entirely true, it is. Rock Valley College is essentially a job. It's just one of 10 places that I have taught at inside of my career by now. So you'll have anywhere between 10 and 15 jobs over the course of your working life. And in those 10 or 15 jobs, you're actually going to switch by average 3 times between different career fields. So that means traveling between sales to marketing to management. That means going from computer science to education to selling cars. It really doesn't matter. You should expect, given a long enough timeline, that you'll bounce from one job to another inside of one career field to another. But at the core of those things that you can package and take with you, the programming systems or process design is really going to have a lot of value to you and help you positively differentiate yourself from one employee to another. So the skills we're going to get here are certainly ones that if you allow them to do so, will positively impact your career, over the long run as you use these skills time and time and time again. And that's really why at the very core, a course like this is absolutely something that you do want to take. We will look at the idea of problem solving. We will look at the idea of developing solutions to those problems. We will look at process engineering. We will look at the intersection of one expertise and another. We will look at communicating. We will look at the systems development lifecycle. And when you can see all of these things, again, irrespective of your career field, you'll be able to better identify problems, better solve those problems, and create solutions that actually last longer. And that is something that is valuable everywhere. That is something that can get you hired. That is something that will keep you hired. And that is something that will move you faster up through the chain of command in whatever industry it is that you're in. Why is it that I might be qualified and or the right qualified person for the job in this? So a little bit about what in my history kind of uniquely forces me to identify with this particular class, essentially. To this point, I have made a career in education. I have been an independent contractor. I have been an average working stiff, just like everybody else. I have been the proprietor of 3 businesses, 1 very successful and 2 very not so much so. And I have worked in philanthropy. And in all of those very different fields, scrambling to make as much money for myself, scrambling to find as much money for other people as possible, or scrambling to give as much knowledge to as many people as possible. The core theme that always travels along from one location to another is we have to identify problems, we have to solve those problems, and we have to work with others to ensure that the solutions that we develop are actually, being implemented properly and suit the needs of the people that we intended to develop the solutions for. So throughout the course of the semester, I will sprinkle in with the content that you are going to read and see and listen to. I'm going to sprinkle in examples not just from me, from previous students, but from big industry leaders. So you can listen to case studies essentially of what it is in a process, a procedure, a program, or a system. What it is that all of those previous considerations have led these captains of industry to be able to identify solutions that are either positive or negative. And we're going to see or hear or read about all of those things throughout the course of this particular course. So don't sprint to registration and records to make sure that, I should be dropping this course because, I don't see where programming logic is going to help me. What I can tell you is the procedural logic and procedural design and systems incorporations, those are going to be the key takeaways that you'll take from this course that are really going to have a positive effect on your careers in the long run.